Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Welcome once again to another session of Japan by Night. This is a scene for Tokyo, the Kindred of the East venue. We open up in one of the older districts of the city, one of the places that is still dotted with various temples, shrines, and well, when you get a bit away from the buildings, even some greenery. In fact, the place that we're starting in is not the grids of concrete and neon that most people associate with the city of Tokyo at night, but just outside of it, in a location that most think is simply quiet, serene wilderness, but to those in the know, those with supernatural backgrounds of sorts, may recognize as one of the two remaining dragon's nests in such an industrialized part of the world. In fact, the only one near Tokyo that is not in the center of that concrete jungle. The Court of Ivory Blossoms at the moment is a quiet place, far enough away from light pollution that you can see the stars in the sky with relative clarity. Many of the residents therein, the Hangyokai of Tokyo, are either winding down from their normal days of courtly meetings, missions, etc., and those who are guarding the sept at night are trading places with the normal guardians and preparing for their shifts. Some gathering weaponry, others simply gathering people to watch with. And as all of this is beginning, this is where we will begin our scene.
Well, as the grounds are relatively quiet, I'm going to prepare to try to keep my vigil or watch. It's not. We're outside of Tokyo, so it's not like a traditional watch, but we, much like any security guards, we kind of keep an eye on the surroundings. And that's part of our responsibility in maintaining the traditional temple as well. Not quite as formal as monks, but still a responsibility everyone shares. However, as it's generally fairly quiet, I've brought another book to read. This one detailing some of the older Japanese legends, keeping in spirit with both my heritage, but also my passion for lore.
The night goes on very quietly, giving more than ample opportunity to read through the book. And as you do, you see the others, their patrol sort of slowing down. They start to realize that maybe tonight isn't a night full of much danger. Some stop by each other to socialize. Others may dip back into the temple itself to grab a snack. As you're reading, a sort of medium-sized white fox will pad over and sit down next to you. You could recognize your friend Akira from a lineup of white foxes at this point, really.
I'll give a kind of a motion to sit directly next to me, but continue reading and pause to look out somewhat over the city, and for the most part remain silent. But it is a beautiful night tonight, isn't it, Kira? Peaceful, quiet. Even the screech of the city and the hum of industry is muted below us.
The fox gives a bit of a nodding gesture, tilting her head and looking from the set. In your head, you can hear, though it doesn't make a sound, what you've come to recognize as her sort of thought speak. She simply says, "It is indeed." I worry, though. My sensei has been quite scarce lately. Normally, he's around every day.
Well, there's many possible explanations. Conjecture will only take us so far. But we must consider that where we are and what we are, this setting and region, this is not something that is sustainable ultimately. The city encroaches evermore, and places of spirituality are lost.
There's spirits yet in the city. I'd show you them if I could, though they're not as friendly.
This is true, they do yet exist, but as you say, their mindsets are far different than they once were.
That's why it concerns me so greatly when a spirit talker goes missing.
Well, the question then becomes, what is missing? Missing to us? Is that the same as truly missing? Just because we do not know where he is? Certainly something to be mindful of, but is it possible he is seeking other places of spirituality to attempt to reestablish what once was?
I can only hope that that's the case. And to lean over and give a sort of animalistic smile before she gets up and takes a look around, her single tail sort of swishing around. I suppose I should get back on my watch.
It's not something that's pleasant for any of us, although we make the best of what we have.
I do my best to be patient, but not always successfully. She winks.
Some things are worth waiting for, and other things are worth having now.
Question, I guess, is which? I'll be seeing you, hopefully tomorrow.
If not sooner. Perhaps after watch. Simply rolling directly into other chores is burdensome.
It's a date. I hope you like to wash floors.
Oh. chores can be more pleasant and with company as well.
She gives a nod, and after taking a quick glance around, she will bound back towards the protected area of the sept and begin looking around, maybe for something of interest. The peace, however, does not last much longer than that at all. In fact, it feels almost as though he just glanced back down at his book and returned to his studies. That very loud crash can be heard from the temple. And he will indeed see others very quickly rushing to see what the commotion is.
I will turn and kind of make myself aware of it, but I also recognize that I have a responsibility on watch here, so I will also maintain that position. So I'm trying to divide my attention between the two.
There doesn't seem to be much more beyond the crash. You may be able to hear voices in the distance, but they're a bit muffled both from the walls and from how far away that they are. After a short while, you'll start to see shadows moving about nearby, and even another fairly humanoid figure, actually perfectly humanoid really, begins striding confidently towards the dragon's nest.
I'm assuming this is someone I don't recognize, so I will begin to kind of monitor that. Whoever this is someone I need to be cognizant of.
Never seen this person before in your life. In fact, even in the darkness, judging by general build and facial features, this person doesn't even appear to be Asian at all, never mind Japanese.
Well, that being a concern, I will do my responsibility and approach.
He'll stop when you approach, though he doesn't look very patient. It's a fairly broad-shouldered looking gentleman with black hair and a short ponytail. His eyes are red, though not in the way of demons, but rather bleeding sclera. He looking almost like a traumatic injury, though he doesn't seem to notice it.
Well, that's both puzzling and odd. I will kind of recognizing this as what it is, which is obviously not good.
With your knowledge of what the Hangyokai refer to as the centipede, you can probably assume. He certainly doesn't look like he's of Gaia.
Right. Well, that's not what we would call kosher. And I'm going to confront him while kind of trying to raise an alarm. I'll give a shout. Foreigners infiltrators have come to the temple. And I will approach him. Assuming on a watch I have a pretty minimal but basic weaponry at least.
You've probably got a bow with you at this point, being the best ranged weapon that won't immediately get police attention.
Alright. I will, in the spirit of that then, I would, not knowing what it is, this thing is, I'll make an attempt at least to shoot. Although at this point my best hope is to simply stall until someone more qualified can arrive.
Okay. As you sound the alarm, you hear it echoed from other members of the Dragon's Nest who are still here on guard. And the shot, being a fairly practiced individual with the bow, it's not a lot of effort to hit somebody's center mass. All